Have you ever judged someone in just a few seconds, only to realize later that you were completely wrong? Sometimes the people who look like they have the least are carrying the biggest hearts. And sometimes, a single act of kindness can change lives in ways no one could ever imagine. Today's story is about a tired single father who walked into a bank wearing old clothes, asking one simple question. The receptionist laughed at him before he could even finish his sentence. But what happened when she looked at the computer screen left the entire bank silent. Stay with me until the very end, because this story might change the way you look at strangers forever. Before we begin, welcome to Heartline Stories, where every story reminds us that kindness can change the world. If you enjoy emotional stories like this, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to life. Daniel Carter was a 36-year-old single father living in a small apartment in Ohio with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Life had never been easy after his wife passed away from cancer 5 years earlier. Since then, Daniel had worked every job he could find. During the day, he repaired broken air conditioners. At night, he cleaned office buildings. Every dollar he earned went toward rent, food, school supplies, and making sure Lily always had a smile on her face. Daniel never cared much about buying new clothes for himself. His jeans were faded. His work boots were scratched. His jacket had been stitched together several times. But Lily always had clean clothes, warm meals, and bedtime stories. One Friday afternoon, Daniel received a letter from the bank. It mentioned an issue with one of his accounts. Confused, he decided to stop by after work. He walked into the large downtown branch carrying his dusty toolbox. The shiny marble floors and expensive furniture made him feel out of place. At the front desk sat a young receptionist named Emily. She barely looked up from her phone. "Can I help you?" she asked without much interest. Daniel smiled politely. "I just want to see my balance." Emily glanced at his worn clothes and dirty boots. She couldn't hide the small laugh that escaped her lips. "Your balance," she repeated with a smirk. "Sir, are you sure you have the right bank?" A couple of customers nearby heard her and smiled awkwardly. Daniel's face turned red, but he stayed calm. "I've had an account here for years. I just received a letter." Emily rolled her eyes. "Fine. Give me your ID." Daniel handed it over quietly. Still smiling to herself, Emily typed his information into the computer. Then everything changed. Her smile disappeared. She blinked. She looked again. Her hands froze above the keyboard. The screen showed an account balance of over $4.8 million. Emily thought the system had made a mistake. She refreshed the page. The numbers stayed the same. Now her face turned pale. "I'm sorry, sir," she whispered. The bank manager happened to walk by and noticed her expression. "Is everything okay?" Emily silently pointed at the screen. The manager looked once. Then twice. His eyes widened. He immediately walked around the desk and held out his hand. "Mr. Carter, would you please come with me to my office?" The entire lobby watched as the man who had been laughed at was suddenly treated like the most important customer in the building. Inside the office, the manager apologized sincerely. "I'm deeply sorry for what happened out there." Daniel smiled gently. "It's all right." The manager looked puzzled. "May I ask, how did this happen?" Daniel leaned back in his chair. "About 15 years ago, I started investing every extra dollar I could save. I bought small amounts of stock whenever I had enough money. Later, one company I believed in grew far beyond what anyone expected. I never touched the investments. I kept working because I never wanted money to change who I was." The manager listened in amazement. "So, you're a millionaire?" Daniel nodded softly. "I guess so. But my daughter still needs a father who works hard and teaches her humility. Money can disappear. Character stays forever." The manager couldn't stop thinking about those words. Meanwhile, Emily sat outside fighting back tears. She remembered laughing at Daniel. She remembered judging him before she even knew his name. When Daniel finished his meeting, he walked back through the lobby. Emily quickly stood up. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Carter. I judged you because of your clothes. I was wrong." Daniel looked at her for a moment. Then he smiled. "My father used to tell me something. He said, the easiest person to judge is usually the one you know the least about." Emily lowered her head. "I'll never forget today." Daniel nodded kindly. "I hope not." Just as he was about to leave, he noticed an elderly woman sitting quietly in the waiting area. She looked worried. Daniel walked over. "Ma'am, are you all right?" She sighed. "I came to ask about my mortgage payment. I'm behind because my husband has been in the hospital." Daniel didn't ask for details. He simply walked back to the manager's office. A few minutes later, he returned with a smile. The manager announced that the woman's overdue mortgage had been completely paid. The elderly woman burst into tears. She hugged Daniel tightly. "You don't even know me," she cried. Daniel smiled. "My daughter reminds me every day that kindness doesn't need introductions." Emily watched everything happen. She realized that the richest thing about Daniel wasn't the money in his account. It was the kindness in his heart. A few months later, Emily started volunteering every weekend at a local food pantry. She greeted every customer at the bank with respect, no matter how they looked. Whenever new employees joined the branch, she shared the story of the man who taught her never to judge appearances. Daniel never told anyone about his wealth. He continued fixing air conditioners, helping neighbors, and raising Lily with love and humility. One evening, Lily asked him a question while they were eating dinner. "Dad, if we're rich, why do you still work so hard?" Daniel smiled. "Because work reminds me to stay grateful. And helping people reminds me why money matters in the first place." Lily smiled proudly. "When I grow up, I want people to remember me for being kind." Daniel reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "Then you'll already be richer than most people." Years later, Emily would tell this story to hundreds of people. Not because a millionaire visited her bank, but because a humble father showed her that true wealth is measured by compassion, not by numbers on a screen. If this story touched your heart, remember this: the next person you meet may be carrying invisible struggles, incredible strength, or unexpected blessings. Never judge someone by their clothes, their job, or their appearance. A little kindness costs nothing, but it can become the greatest gift someone receives that day. Thank you for spending this time with Heartline Stories. If this story inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes kindness still matters. And always remember, when you choose kindness over judgment, you make the world a little brighter, one heart at a time.